As a character, I never particularly found Ravi Ross very interesting or funny. He's just another dime a dozen funny foreigner stereotypes. A friend of mine way back in the day commented that Ravi's accent sounded so fake to the point that it was grating. I mean, this is an Indian guy named Krish Gupta who said Baljit felt more representative of him than Ravi did. Let's take a look at Are You Cooler Than a Fifth Grader? We open with Jessie trying to wake the kids by banging on a pot and giving them the whole drill sergeant nasty routine. I'll give the episode this. Her getting annoyed at rich people food killing the whole drill sergeant vibe is honestly funny. The setup for our first plot is that Zuri wants a new doll, because she melted the last one using a hairdryer. After that bit, we get Luke, who thinks it's the weekend, only for him to basically be told, no, it's Monday morning. Then we see Ravi, who is ready for school. It will be his first time actually at school since he came from India. Which is funny, since in the very first episode, he was actually going to school in this scene, and he has a bag over his shoulder. Continuity error or him just walking the other siblings to the bus stop? You make the call. Me personally, I lean towards continuity error because Jessie made 4 lunches in the first episode and threw 3 of them at the kids, with Emma's being in her hand because Emma's, right there. I guess an argument could be made that Ravi is just going to see his one-on-one tutor, but honestly, I don't think they put that much thought into this scene. Luke obviously begins making fun of the Sherwani by calling it something that belongs in a nightclub in Vegas. Looked up the Wikipedia page for this, it's an actual thing and not something Disney Channel made up. Yes, I know that Disney Channel makes up a lot of stuff, but at the same time they do actually reference real-world stuff. However, all the pictures seem to treat this like a very regular overcoat. Like, all of them on English Wikipedia, even the ones on Urdu and Hindi Wikipedia treat it like some overcoat. I don't know, fashion has variants, still the whole scene plays out as LOL, look at the funny foreigner bit. But anyways, Emma's plot involves her wearing absurdly high heels for the fashion. Why? Because pretty hurts. Yeah, Jessie is making her do this in flats, right after this scene. Luke does his best to avoid Ravi while Emma tries to actually be helpful. Yes, we do get the whole joke about the whole Emma doesn't understand that woodshop and shopping are 2 different things bit. Because I think she actually plays the same joke in Take the A Train, I think, except it's for social studies where she says she thought it would mostly be social, but instead it's mostly studies. Oh boy, this joke again. Ravi thinks he has this under control, but the moment he hears the bell, he freaks out and believes it's the fire alarm, and tries to get a hose to put it out. Luke is basically 100% done at this point. Ravi's further antics drive Luke up the wall. Apparently, Ravi's middle name starts with a K. This I know is a continuity issue. Luke tells Ravi, don't look like a moron, and his advice is actually half sound. Find one main friend, and then meet all their friends. I mean, school clubs exist for that reason. After Ravi heads to class, we meet Finch. Finch is played by a pre-Henry Danger Jace Norman. So a local school bully, Dale, is basically terrorizing the entire school. Then we cut to Jessie and Zuri, who are selling lemonade. I like Zuri's method of just throwing a 4-day tantrum to get a $200 doll. Why? Because it has less trouble with the law that way. Then we cut back to the foreigners are weird gang. Ravi's interest in cricket is seen as completely strange and foreign to Luke's gang. His interest in spicy peppers is also looked upon with LOL foreigners weird. After Ravi busts a sprinkler pipe, Luke and his friends book it. Jessie gives some reasonable advice. There's be yourself, but be yourself does have disadvantages, mainly getting your head dunked into a toilet. It's also reasonable as a lesson because not everyone will like you, and if you try to make everyone like you, you'll end up making nobody like you. There's also the whole, if you try to be yourself too much in the public, you'll end up taking every single insult they'll hurl at you very, very personally. After Ravi leaves, we see Mrs. Chesterfield. Chesterfield harasses Bertram and then takes off, while Ravi tries to imitate Luke. I do really enjoy Luke's facial expressions throughout this episode because the disgust is really captured well. Really helps the audience have someone to cringe with. Of course, earning Dale's wrath because Ravi can't keep his mouth shut. This is the last straw for Luke because, well, he probably doesn't want to get his head dunked into a toilet. This is also where Emma's plot wraps up. Basically, Jessie comes to give Emma her book on Edgar Allan Poe, and basically sees, okay, you're 8 inches taller than when you left home this morning. Yeah, she doesn't buy the whole bit, and she basically confiscates the medieval torture devices. The only person who actually takes Emma's fashion advice is the nurse she constantly keeps seeing because of the medieval torture devices. As for Luke, well, he learns that all families have embarrassing quirks. Well, he was going to give Ravi another chance. That or he heard that Jesse's family is so humiliating that Ravi looks better in comparison. It's lunchtime again. You know what that means. My favorite joke in the whole episode is when Ravi says, "Clearly you are not smart enough to notice a phony Indian accent," to Dale. Yeah, Ravi, your Indian accent isn't exactly great either. Luke's attempts to try to defend Ravi, who's about to get pummeled by Dale, ends up going about as well as you'd expect. Just about as well as you'd expect. Dale does take Ravi's lunch because Ravi offered it as a peace offering. Yeah, Ravi likes very spicy peppers as previously established, and Dale proceeds to have his tongue burned from it. Apparently, Ravi is so used to the taste of the peppers that he's unaffected by them. Or at least that's the explanation I would have given, because this episode had to go, well, Indians sleep on beds of nails and walk on hot coals. This is nothing. Ugh. Oh, and Ravi is part of the reptile club. This gets brought up in later episodes. Our bookend for Zuri is how she made money. She used a space heater to make the elevator stupid hot. Yes, this is extortion. Yes, they bring it up in that episode. Yes, she makes $300. She does this again by baking cookies with Ravi's peppers into them, and then we have Ravi sell milk for $10 a cup. Oh, and we need one last gag of Jessie tripping and falling on the heels. This episode really isn't a Ravi episode so much as it is a Luke-centric episode with Ravi being used as a vehicle for Luke's character development. I'm a bit disappointed that Ravi's role was to simply play LOL look at the funny foreigner, because honestly I think it would be more interesting if he was the main character and he was interacting with people at the school. Granted, the school isn't as big of a plot device as other Disney Channel sitcoms are, but still. One of the things at least this episode keeps is that Ravi is part of a reptile club. Really wish he actually made friends here on screen rather than had just joined the reptile club off screen. Then again, later seasons would make him into a friendless loser or an insufferable douchebag that he is a friendless loser. Speaking of douchebags, the Zuri plot. I actually don't have a problem with it. I actually do kind of find it funny. Mostly because I find Rhoda Chesterfield to be an acceptable target because she is a despicable person. However, this is a case of, okay, in hindsight, this may be where the turning point of Zuri's characterization of a greedy and money-obsessed character might be beginning. And given where that character takes her, it's not exactly a great place. Because it's a bit cute when she's extorting people as a little girl using space heaters to sell lemonade or cookies that are baked in with really hot peppers in order to sell milk. But when she does something similar like this as a teenager, yeah, that's a bit collar tugging. You lose the cute little girl aspect and have a, okay, just another random scam artist greedy character like Mr. Krabs. And honestly, this episode did get a few chuckles out of me. I'm probably going to forget it pretty quickly. Those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.